what am I doing here? Well, the original floor panels, the removable ones, came to this position here, and then this piece is screwed in. I'm cutting that out, and I'm going to take the removable floor panel right to the edge of what is my refrigerator. Welcome back on board the good ship Blownaway, where we are currently on the Greek island of Meganisi making repairs. And for those of you that are new to my channel, my name is Ian and I own a steel ketch from the 1970s called Blownaway, which has been my home for over 20 years. This winter's project is replacing the cabin's sole, but what I discovered is that the floor panels will not go out through the companionway. Has to go out through the roof. This means taking these hatches off. Upon taking out the butterfly hatch, I soon found a split in the frame. I suspect the hatch was twisting quite a bit as it was being opened. So with the butterfly hatches off and rain in the forecast, I'm forced to make a hasty repair. This bit being the old section, which was badly broken. And with a new piece of teak installed to the hatch, it's time to plug the frames. And this is an old technique that's been applied for years. A small amount of glue into the holes left behind on top of the screw heads. The teak plugs are cut to the same size as the hole. Then hammer the plug into the hole and wait for the glue to set. Once the glue is set, I can then remove the excess parts standing proud from the hole, thus making the screw heads invisible. And these side pieces were removed to enable me to run the router down the seal groove and to remove old cyclips. And the reason I'm looking closely at the plug is that I tried to align the grain of the plug with the grain of the teak frame, because once this is varnished, this repair should be more or less invisible. I've often been asked how I select my music for these videos. So I have a subscription to Epidemic Music, which is what most YouTubers seem to use. And often while doing repairs like this, I listen to new tunes. And if I hear something I like from a new and upcoming artist, I download it and use it later in these videos. And the artist gets paid via Epidemic. But if you're interested in listening to what I'm listening to, I've included the link for my saved music files in the description below. So with the hatch repair complete, it's time to put a quick lick of varnish on this. I'm not going to get too fussy with the finish, it's too cold for me to do this. I just want to seal the wood up so I can place these hatches back. Can you see the repair I made? Yes. So with those hatches back in position and the boat watertight, it's time for me to get back to the job I originally started. So my plan at the moment is to take up the floor in the deck saloon and replace the floor. The sole boards, as they're called, are particularly bad in places. They're split. There were or are fire access ports to put fires out in the engine room, and those were cut square as opposed to round originally, which is a mistake because all of the cracks, all of the splits have emanated from the corners of the cuts, which is quite normal. So it's an ongoing problem that I've been watching slowly but surely get worse over the years, and I am worried that I'm going to put a foot through a floorboard very, very shortly. So I need to fix it. I've bodged it up and patched it so many times, now it's just beyond repair. I need to get the floors out and replace them. So let's take a look. Prior to taking out the floor, I had taken measurements to ensure that I had enough materials either on the boat or able to order them locally. If cut correctly, this plank of Iroko, which I sourced over a year ago, should be enough for me to cut the frames. But what I can't afford to do is make a mistake like I did with the teak hatch frame. So with the floor panels removed, let's take a quick look at what they cover. So each compartment has a separate thing going on. So the first big compartment here is for the engine. The second compartment is exhaust and gearbox. Then we have the electrical system, and then back there we have the water system. So there's water heaters, etc. back there. I have to be so careful here. I'm so going to fall in. Down there, goes down 2 meters give or take. Anyways, yeah, so what am I doing here? Well, the original floor panels, the removable ones, came to this position here, and then this piece is screwed in. I'm cutting that out, and I'm going to take the removable floor panel right to the edge of what is my refrigerator, and it's been poorly repaired in places, and I want to get rid of it. So whilst cutting out the remainder of these floor panels, I could quite easily catch an electrical cable or a water hose. So my intention is to cut these pieces out in small sections. And to cut these floor panels out, I'm using my Bosch multi-tool. This comes with a really fine cutting blade that allows me to get close into the joinery without doing any damage. And it takes a couple of days to cut the floor panels out from around the furniture. Good morning from Meganisi in Greece. Today I am working on the frames for my floor. So we're going to circular saw some wood, we're going to cut some planking, and I'm going to start prepping to make the frames for the new floor panels. We have a plan. The plan is in the van. So the idea is we're going to build these two first. These two are the more complicated ones. Now we're going down a different route to the original builder. It's my intentions to make these panels nearly twice as thick, which means they don't need to go the full width of the boat. And if my thought process is correct, then these panels should be a lot stiffer than the old ones. There's a cutout there for the water, and there's a cutout there for the nav station desk. It isn't square, or it isn't rectangular, as you can imagine. Here is 64, the other end is at 58, so there is a taper to it which will cut itself. I'm going to make the frame slightly bigger so that I can sand pieces off of it if I need to. I'm going to make it slightly higher as well to allow for, again, sanding. It could be that I need to remove larger pieces, smaller pieces, I don't know, so I'm going to make it a little bit bigger than because if I don't, I'm going to end up if I don't, I'll make a mistake and I need another plank. Don't forget, measure once, cut twice. And remember people, this is not an instructional video. Probably just as well. This is just how I have to make this stuff, okay? There's one done.
I don't have a thickness or anything, so I'm kind of reliant on sanding to make this flat. So I'm trying to be as good as I can when I cut this, so that if I don't have to do so much sanding, then it's going to save me a lot more time. Okay, 4 pieces so far off of this. So here we go. So this will make up the frame for our floor. Yeah, doesn't come out too bad actually. Consider I'm just doing this with a circular saw. By the time this is sanded, this will be alright. It's going to be a lot better than it was, let's put it that way. I'm fairly happy. I've probably got enough thickness left in this to make another one if I needed to. 25 is probably about there. There's maybe 75mm across the whole thing, so if I need it I can do one more. But cutting that straight, because the circular saw tips, because there's nothing to rest the plate on, cutting that straight is quite tricky. The last one was a bit awkward, but yeah, I'm quite happy with that. If you look down the length of it, it's not too bad. Next thing, right the groove in it. I need to make a groove in it so that the plywood is recessed into it. Plywood's 6mm, so I need to route out a section of this 6mm deep. So I'm going to take out a cross section of this here, 6mm deep. And I have to do, I'll do 2 of them to begin with, just in case I don't need the others for the time being. I need to measure it and see how many of them I need. I don't want to waste this wood, although it wasn't expensive. Although it wasn't expensive where I bought it from, it is expensive here. That plank was about 600 euros here. I paid 70 euros for it in Chios in a window factory, because they didn't need it. They didn't use Iroca. They only used mahogany. So I was lucky, very lucky. Milling bench.
So armed with a little fold-out workbench, a bar stool and a couple of pallets, we're making a new floor.
I should be able to, should be able to run the router down for that. Because these are the factory cuts, so the edges are the factory cuts. Those are the bits that make up the edge of my board. So all I need to do is sand them clean, because at the moment they're rough cut, they're not finished, but I'll finish them. So I'm not too worried about it being a bit higgledy-piggledy, because I'll just go over that with a belt sander and clean it up when I'm ready.
Then off we go. Look at me with my safety glasses on. Who says I'm not a responsible adult? So with a wobbly bench and an extension cable that won't reach to the end of the plank, off we go with our router. And this rebate will be cut at 6mm and half the width of the plank frame, so that when my plywood backing board is set on top of it, it will be nice and strong with a large contact area for the glue.
Just so jealous of people with their fancy workshops.
If you'd like to help support this channel, you can do so via Patreon or Ko-fi. Please follow the link down below in the description, or the link, if I remember, top right hand corner. Thank you. I won't bore you with the facts, but suffice to say, this took quite some time.
We now have a 6mm rebate machined into this piece of timber. And this is for the recess for the plywood to sit into. And so far, it's pretty good. A few bits to clean up, but That works. So yesterday we routed this plank out. We cut and routed this plank, and today we are cutting it to make the frame. We're making the frame for the floor, and that will take us all of today for sure. I'm cutting by hand. Simple fact, I can control it easier. I've done it with a jigsaw in the past, and the results have been less than favourable. So I'm going to do it by hand. I don't have a big handsaw. Surprise, surprise. I've only got a small one, so it's going to take me a while. Join the fun.
And this is where the games begin, because nothing is square on a boat. Think about the shape of a boat. And whilst I frequently joke about measure once, cut twice, I'm actually quite paranoid I'm going to mess this up. So I just keep going back in and taking more measurements over and over again. I swear half my day is spent walking between the boat and the bench. The next exciting part of making these floor panels is cutting out the backing boards. Now these are made from 6mm marine grade ply, so the glue is water resistant, which is important for something that's being used in the marine environment.
This one's a little bit more complicated because I have the cutout for the nav station desk.
Oh no, another tedious cliffhanger. If you want to see more of this, then you are going to have to tune in next week.
Now if you know the boat, the nav station desk is on starboard side. Looking at this is the backing board. So this whole panel will flip over like that, hence the cutout at the moment is on the wrong side. Kind of tried to level it off as best as I can. This is the absolute perfect marine workshop bench. What could possibly go wrong?
And a huge shout out to our monthly Ko-fi supporters who you see here. And these immensely attractive people have all made donations via Ko-fi. And last but not least are our monthly Patreon supporters. And this outro will soon be getting updated. If you would like to add your face to this screen, please join our Patreon team. And if you got this far, thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. And if you'd like to watch more of these videos, follow the prompts on screen now. Right, that's me done. I'm off to get some food.